Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I am your humble host, Mr. David Nall, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers, and I greet you as always with the love and the honor of the infinite Creator. And I continue to pray for each and every one of you that you will continue to accept and receive the blessings, the healing, and the knowledge of the universe. Now, with that said, this particular subject has been one that's been tossed around in my brain for a while, and I I've always asking for spiritual guidance and some of these things, and they're kind of kicking my shins today to go ahead and do this video. And it has to do with basically war and peace. Okay, and here's one of the things that kind of got brought into my mind, is that why do nations war with each other? Why do people war with each other? And a lot of this has to do with our customs. It is our custom that if somebody beats us up, we go beat them up. It's our custom if somebody shoots our dog, we go shoot their dog. It's our customs. I mean, so in this understanding and realization, as I'm always asking, hey, Jared, I don't have my glasses on. Greetings. But with this idea, though, could peace ever be achieved? And here's the thing. In my many, 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 many years of contemplation about peace. Hi, Ian. How are you? Blessings to all of you. In the idea of peace, though, we have to bring peace to each other. We have to bring peace within ourselves. How can we extend that peace to other beings, to other peoples, to other nations? And the thing is that if a leader of a country, pick one, decides that they just don't want to fight anymore, and they say, you know what, we're just, now if you attack us, we're gonna stop fighting. We choose not to fight. We choose to find a means for peace. Now that's not always possible, but if someone's intent is positive, and they positively wish to stop fighting, and they positively wish to trade, if they show their trustworthiness and their honor through their actions, then they could be respected, and other people would say, my goodness, those folks really don't want to fight, but it's so in our so many, pick a place, pick a country, pick a nation, pick a planet maybe, and that the war is all about retribution or some kind of retaliation. Well, they harmed us in some way, so we're going to go beat them up. We're going to go drop bombs. Somebody did a thing, so we're going to retaliate with like mind. And it's like, but if we keep this up with the retaliation and with the revenge, we're never ever going to get there. Now, there are crazy folk. We just have to raise our hand and go, listen, there are crazy folk in this world, and they're just not quite wired like the rest of us, in that, they see violence as a really cool thing. Not me. I'm sorry, but I don't see violence as like a good thing. Sometimes it's necessary, but if it wasn't for the other folks being violent, I wouldn't have to be violent. You know what I mean? We wouldn't have to go there. So, but our customs have dictated over our years. I mean, Appalachians, Southerners, I mean, you pick a place. So somehow dictated, well, I'm going to fight for my country. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm going to fight for my right. Everything is about a fight. Everything is about when we use the word fight, we're kind of talking about warring with somebody or something or something. You know what I mean? It's the fight against poverty. It's the fight against, everything is a fight. So when you use those words, it means we're going to go to war. So we are warring peoples, even when we say, well, I'm going to fight for my right to be a sovereign being. But then you're actually asking to go to war with any other being that doesn't agree with you, basically, So, but all of us, we are warlike in that sense. We wish to stand up for our own rights. But at the same point, though, there are those folks through customs. I mean, let's just pick the Middle East. It is their custom to retaliate. You did this to us, we're going to whack your head off, or, we're going to stone you, or whatever the thing is. It's their custom. Okay. Versus us here in the United States or down here in South Georgia, our customs are different. Okay. And so, down here, don't get between the man and his dog. Somebody's going to get hurt, and it might not be the dog, but, just saying. But in a lot of places, it's like that. Um, a good bulldog or a good bird dog, is worth its weight in gold. And it's like a wife. There was one old timer years ago who said, a wife, psst, I can get a wife. A good bird dog, now that's hard to come by. Now, nothing against the female race, that's not it. But to the point, though, some people value some things more than other things. So to this, and I mean, there are some of these old guys that truly felt that way. That a wife, I can get them a dime a dozen, but a good hound dog, now that's hard to come by. So, but that's by custom, that's by, their societal, how they're brought up, their mores, and that type of thing. Anyway, moving on with that. So, in this idea of war and peace, one would suggest, I would suggest, other people have, is that, the pen is mightier than the sword. You've heard that expression. If not, well, welcome to this one. But the pen is mightier than the sword. In other words, words with the proper intent can, sway millions of people, whereas necessarily, warring with a bunch of these people aren't going to necessarily, achieve the same goal. So, but the idea, though, that must we pull our sword every time we meet someone who may oppose us in some way? So, if the first thing we do is come at our neighbor in an opposition or with a negative defensive kind of atmosphere, then it's gonna set up a warlike conflagration, if you will. So, with that said, though, it's our own intents. Now, the president of a nation could feel, listen, I don't want to fight anymore, but that doesn't mean that there aren't a bunch of other people who wouldn't want to go to war, like some of the generals here in the United States, and some people, they're just war type people, and it's been their custom, again, to this same thing. It has been their custom to war. If you don't agree with this, well, then we're going to send men in and troops, and we're going to send bullets and bombs. And if you don't agree with this, we'll convince you in one way or the other. And that's just wrong. Somebody has to be strong enough at some point in all fights to be able to stand up and say, listen, it's not that I'm chicken. I'm not being a coward here, but I'm using my brain and I'm using my senses. And I say, this is absurd. The fact that I'm wanting retaliation or to want to harm another being in any way, shape or form for protection. Well, you're going to war against me, so I'm going to hit you first. Wait a minute. We got to stop this, but we have to build trust. And the trust can only come when those people and the nation or the group or whoever is behind them, it could be a family. The idea, though, that is if our intent is like, well, I won't shoot him this time, or I'll lay down my gun, but if that bugger does something, I'm going to take him out. No, our intent has to be trustworthy. Look, let's not fire. I'm going to hold my gun and you're going to hold yours, but we're going to shake hands and say, listen, we're going to not shoot each other. Some place to start. A place to start. But if everybody's got to fire their own gun, if everybody's got to stand up for their own revenge, their own retaliation, their own customs of, listen, I'm going to fight for this right. And I'm not saying that we should just lay down and let somebody walk over us. That is not what I'm talking about. But what takes more courage? A person to just blindly go into battle and get all shot up or blowed up by a landmine or something? Or does it take more courage to just stand there and say, listen, I refuse to fight you. If you're going to shoot at me, I'm going to shoot back. But I would rather, hey, let's not do this. Okay. Now, I know that sometimes those folk on the other side are not going to listen. Okay. But if we keep retaliating with more force, we're not going to win any friends there. It hasn't worked in the past. It's not going to work in the future. So the the definition of insanity is doing the same damn thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Trying to force anyone into anything never works. We can negotiate terms. We can negotiate some type of, armistice deal, or look, let's stop killing each other. Let's figure out a way that we can do this differently. Now, I submit to you, my dear friends, which takes more courage? To blindly go into battle and shoot, or to stand up and say, you know what, maybe I'm going to try to be brave enough to say, wait a minute, at some point, this must stop. At some point, this must stop. There are so many people out there. Hey, big little Mew. I've been told I'm a pacifist doing certain conversation about war. I am a pacifist, but I'll defend my right. But at the same point, I don't want to go attack someone. That's my point. Well, we're going to get them before they get us. No, I'm a pacifist in that respect. But at the same point, I will defend my own territory. And don't mess with me, because don't test me, because I would rather not show that ugly side of myself. But if someone is going to attack me, I got all kinds of stuff. You may get me, but you're going to be hurting by the time you take me out. And that's not a threat. That's a promise. Unless they take me out from a long way. But to this point, though, my intent is I would much rather have a conversation and go, why do you want to harm me? Just asking, Why do you feel that way? Just asking. What is your custom? Is there some kind of retaliation, something in there? What if you were the person after 1,000 years of war decided to say, you know what? I'm going to be a brave and courageous person and say, you know what? It stops here. The buck stops here. No more war. I'm going to convince my people, my folks, and whatever, that we don't have to do this anymore. Yes, we should be a strong nation. Yes, we should be prepared to defend ourselves, because there are crazy people all over the place. But do we have to be the ones to go fire the first shot? Do we have to be the ones that walk in and, oh, look at how? No, no. That just pisses people off. And it's not working. It hasn't worked, and it's not going to work in the future. There must be courageous people who finally will say, stop this. Peace is more important than war. Peace between beings, peace between planets, peace, please, But to the point, though, how many people and how many customs and how many, to some people, irreversible, I'm sorry, but I hate, I'm not speaking of myself, but I know some folks who are like, I'm sorry, but I just hate them sons of bitches, and I don't care what they do. I'm still going to hate them. Okay, maybe we can fix that, but, maybe we can change your point of view. But there are folks out there that just feel that way. I mean, against, Mexicans, blacks, Islam, you pick one. Against Democrats, some Democrats against Republicans. I mean, pick one, But to the point, though, it's like, maybe instead of, well, how am I going to, kill you, fight you, or whatever? How does it take more courage to figure out how we can make peace between us? I'm just tossing it out there. But the idea, though, in my all consumptive thingy about myself, is that I'm always asking, why do these people keep doing this? Why do these folks, want to war each other? Why do they want to annihilate each other? And as I go back, it's like some of this stuff is really deep rooted, and it's in their customs. So I would say that maybe it's a custom that we have turkey for Thanksgiving. That's not such a bad custom. But, if it's our custom to retaliate and annihilate the next village over because they, did something, is that necessarily a custom that we should bring forward into the future? And I submit that as awake as this planet is, with all the cell phones and everything, and with all the folks who have had enough of some of this oligarchy crap and all of this, we know what's best for you. Do you really? There are folks in Atlanta making decisions for us folk down here in the country, and they don't know what it's like to live in the country. They live in Atlanta, for goodness sake. So, there are folks trying to make decisions for us when they don't really know how usins feel about this stuff. But, How I feel about it is I'm tired of these people bickering and fighting and everything's against somebody. Oh, stop it. Sit down. Let's negotiate. Take your anger hat off, for goodness sakes. Let's sit around this table here and have a conversation, for goodness sake. Come on, Bob, let's have some coffee. Here's to Bob. I haven't said hi to Bob out there. Coffee, Bob. But I submit, what takes more courage? To go to war and to die and not have to worry about tomorrow? Or to have the courage to say, you know what? It's going to be a fight, if you will, to keep the peace. It's going to be difficult because our customs are so different. But when we understand that, wait a minute, we're supposed to be intelligent beings, where are we using our intelligence? To kill each other, to maim each other, to, greed, steal, theft, greed. Now, there are some folks that are stealing because they're damn hungry. And, is there a difference? Absolutely. I've been hungry and I've had to steal way back in the day. Stole a farmer's chicken when I should have took the eggs, but, and they knew it was us. That was the weird part. But anyway, we were hungry, So sometimes you steal for the damnedest reasons. And then sometimes folks steal just because they're greedy, just because they want to, just because they can. Doesn't make it right. But when we look at why things are this way, well, why do people keep warring? Maybe it's a custom we need to break. Why do we need retaliation? Maybe it's something we need to break. Maybe it's a cycle we need to stop. Maybe it's, as intelligent beings in this universe, we should have enough intelligence to go, wait a minute. We disagree, but I don't want to pull out a bazooka and kill the guy or person or whatever. Let's have conversation first. And then maybe I'll pull out a gun. No, I'm kidding. But to the point, though, that we should always, whoever it is in life, if there's someone who doesn't understand us, then we should understand them. We have to take the bigger role. Well, this person don't understand me. I try to wake them up and they just poo and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just a conspiracy nut. Okay, so you can still be a conspiracy nut, but how you approach this person with your knowledge is totally different. You don't have to beat them up with it. Just ask them a question. Why do you feel this way? Why? And maybe you'll find insight. Maybe the person, when they answer the question, because nobody's asked them, why do you feel this way before? And in that conversation of you asking the question and listening, you can find out something about this person. It might be that they're just a total loss and you just need to back out and get away. But at the same point, you just might be able to say, well, there are a lot of other people that think in a different way. And so you never tell them that they're wrong, So the thing is that you can say, well, do you like fighting? No, not really, but I'm going to stand up for my rights. Okay, I'm going to stand up for my rights and I don't like fighting. So you look at the commonality between us. Wait a minute. You don't really like to fight, but you will. Me too. And you don't like, well, wait a minute. We have common bond already. So we can put down our weapons immediately, in my opinion, because guess what? Neither one of us want to fight. Neither one of us, neither one of us want to die, so we can look at those commonalities and focus on those and just work down, so we don't agree on a lot of other stuff, but we can agree that we really don't like killing each other. So let's figure it out. Which takes more courage? I submit it takes a lot more courage to sit down at the table with an enemy and say, look, if you're going to keep fighting, we will fight back. Okay, we will defend ourselves, but we'd much rather let's figure out how we can fix this. Okay. But they have to be willing, and, it is asking a lot, because some of these other parties, and I'm just going to say, not all Islam, but, in that respect, they have a certain custom. So in their custom of things, they're going to be harder to talk to about this. Whereas for myself, I'm like, hey, anything we can agree on to, quit slaughtering each other, I'm for it. If if it's agreeable, if it's halfway decent, we just put our weapons down and quit this nonsense, please. I mean, we can work out the rest, in my opinion. And it may be that I would never accept your custom and you would never accept mine, but we would have enough respect for each other and our individual customs that through our own intent, our own life, that we can say, you know what, maybe some of your customs are a little crude, but I'm going to show by example that our customs aren't that bad. Now, maybe some of our customs stink and we need to change our customs. So with that said, though, I could drone on and on and on and on about this, but the bottom line is there are people out there that they just sincerely, I think they just like egging it on. It's like trolls, they just want to pick a fight, any fight, doesn't matter. Pick one, well, you're stupid. You're an ignoramus. You don't know what you're talking about. Yada, yada, yada. Okay. There are just those types of folks who are instigators. And for those kind of people, I don't know, maybe we should put them under some kind of, I was thinking about this earlier, you put a leg band on them or something, and every time they start to like curse or get out of line, they get zapped. And it's like, they as soon as they start trying to call somebody an evil, wicked, mean, nasty, they get shocked. And they can go about their daily business, but at any time they start to go beyond this certain boundary of that, they get shocked and say, listen, this behavior is honestly unacceptable. And you have the choice. You have the choice to be nice to people, or you can get fried. It's okay. But, we're going to allow you to go about your daily business. But if you want to, get out of your realm of shit, then you're going to get zapped. Maybe that's the behavior modification we need to do with some of these folks. And I don't want to be cruel, but it's sort of like a dog fence. There was a dog that years ago when this stuff first came out and they had to wear the collar. And when they got near the fence, it would shock the dog. It got to the point where the dog liked it. And it was like, what? They had to turn up the voltage. And it was like the dog would walk along the perimeter and you could see the dog going like this. And it was like he was getting off on the electricity. And I have to stop and go, what? But there are crazy people out there. There are crazy critters too, not in, in all forms, shapes, and sizes. But we as intelligent beings should be able to say, listen, come on now. Let's stop this nonsense. And let's tell our leaders who are going off the wall with some of this stuff, I'm sorry, but your opinion has gotten out of hand. You're wanting to do all these mean, bad, nasty things is against core beliefs of your intent is retribution. Your intent is retaliation. Your intent is to hurt, harm, or somehow maim or defame or deface or defraud someone, something. And so in my opinion, we just need to be the intelligent folks in the room and go, I choose from now on to say no to this stuff. But in a nice and polite way, you murderous bastards, cut it out, Stop it already, you crazy people out there in the universe. And I don't mean just on this planet or this nation, but, you crazy beings out there, stop it already. Haven't we had enough? But anyway, that's my 2 cents and I'm sticking to it. But in the grand scheme of love and honor and respect in this world, somebody somewhere has got to stand up and go, listen, I'm not going to shoot back at you. I know you killed one of our people, but I'm not going to shoot back at you. I'm not going to shoot back in retaliation. I don't agree with it. I think you're a piece of crap, but I'm not going to shoot back at you. Which it takes more courage. Just saying. Does it take more courage to go to war or to stop a war? Think about that, warriors. Think about that. When you're defending your own property, do you go across the street and attack your neighbor because he might come get you? Or he's, waved his shotgun around? Are you going to go over there and blow him away first because he might come get you? Or maybe he's shot in your direction one day? I mean, you may need that person later on if something happens. You may need your neighbor. You may need these people that you're trying to pick a fight with. I know, because some of the people in the neighborhood, when a hurricane tornado went through, people started helping each other where, before it was like, well, what are you blah, blah, blah. So we can change. But does change have to come with adversity? In other words, does the world have to have a giant tornado for people to get it? Wait a minute, we're all in the same boat together here. Does it take catastrophes to bring us together? War separates us. It just pisses off the other side to where they want to retaliate and war some more. So where's the sanity in this? Where do we need to continue this? I'm all for defense, but I'm against let's go, attack these folks. Now, some people say, well, what about World War II? Different. Hitler done his thing. He needed to have his butt whooped. But in the grand scheme of what's going on now, do we need any of this stuff now? Can some of us be strong enough to go, wait a minute, well, I'm not going to shoot back at you this time. I'm just sorry. Well, aren't you going to bomb us? No. Doesn't mean you can get away with it. Doesn't mean we agree with it. And they'll probably do it again. But what we need to do is get other folks involved to say, you know what? He bombed the last time in retribution. We didn't do anything. If he bombs again, what's he bombing in, if it was a car bomb? So what's the retribution now? So after a while, if we don't respond with violence, then the violence is going to show that it's only the violence that's there. It's not us. We're not reciprocating that violence. So I know it's a toughie. I know it's one that everybody wants revenge and retribution and let's hang them from the highest limb and all that kind of stuff. But at some point, we've got to be able to say, wait a minute. Is retribution and retaliation actually worth it? Has it worked? No, we're still at war. What has actually worked? Peace. For example, when they tore down the wall, and there was a lot of warring in the different countries in Russia and things settled out. But, the folks over in Ukraine, they got their own shit together. They did as much as they could, and they felt good about themselves. And there are those of us who say, oh, my God, they're going to join Mother Russia again. They were always a part of Russia. We just think that the Ukraine is somehow part of Europe. It's not. It was part of Russia. But anyway, but not the USSR, okay? But to the point, though, that these people, it's like I live in the state of Georgia in the United States. We're a sovereign state, but we belong to the United States. So, folks in Georgia over there, they're in Georgia, but they belong to they have decided to become quote, a state within Russia. So people, well, all these Russians are taking over. Well, then someone could say that, well, we did kind of steal Hawaii and Alaska, but, anyway, we won't go there. But the idea, though, that, wait a minute, the states, the people in the state applied for statehood. Thus, the people over in the Ukraine, they applied for readmission into Russia, okay, as a state. So we don't understand these things because it's not our custom. We don't understand, but we listen to all these politics and how Putin is the bad guy and all this and all these other, no, the Russians are guilty of all this crap. Somebody's trying to keep this mamby-pamby stuff going when you stop and actually look at the facts. It's like, only some of those facts are true, just got to say. But there are people who just, through their own customs, we got to hate Russia because we always have. They've always been the enemy. The Chinese always been the enemy. These folks always been the enemy. So unless we break our long-term customs of hate, we're never going to get anywhere, and nothing will ever be achieved because we're still going to go on our custom of hate and retaliation and retribution. So, my friends, I think I got my point across. But again, I'm not saying we should just let folks walk over us. Not my point of view at all. But do we have to attack people? Do we have to always attack people? Well, I'm going to pull my gun before you pull yours. I mean, this is like the old West. All right, look, you better put your gun down because I don't want you to shoot me. What? Well, you're holding a gun on me. Yeah, I know. I pulled mine first. You take your gun belt off and drop it to the ground. And you want me to trust you? Well, you're holding a gun on me. Yeah, I know, but I'm the marshal. Take your gun off. And I'm thinking of Wyatt Earp. But anyway, but the idea though but somebody pulled the gun first. They had to show some kind of force. So rather than walking up to somebody and say, "Hey, yo, dude, put your," no. First, you have to show force to get your point across. And, in many selections with the police and stuff these days, I mean, I've been arrested too many times for weird stuff. But back in the day, being thrown up against the car and searched and have your vehicle literally ripped out and torn out because there might be a joint in there, so they could bust you. The police state is what it is. It's a police state. And when they think they're right, that's it. The rest of us have to just kind of sit by. But when we start voicing our opinions and saying, you know what, your violence is wrong. You're treating people with violence, and then you wonder why people are violent back to you. Because I was violated, tossed in a mental hospital, and violated myself. And, this sheriff's deputy had no reason to treat me the way he did and throw me into the back of his police car. And I mean, I'm still suffering for those injuries from about 6 or 7 years ago. But to the point, though, when I tried to do anything about it, well, he's a sheriff. You must have gave him a reason. No, I wasn't. I was tied with my hands behind my back. And, what? Anyway, but to the point, though, they're always right and we're always wrong. And we have to stand up for that. But we have to be able to also not do it with a gun. We're just going to be met with more violence. If we try to retaliate with any kind of violence or malcontent, I guess, it isn't going to work. We have to be more civil about it. Say, listen, you violated my rights. Well, yeah, but you violated my rights. But me getting pissed off about it is only going to show that I'm going to stoop down to a lower level. But when we can maintain our own integrity and our own respectability and our own humility without being a wuss now, trust me, I ain't talking about being a wussy. I'm talking about using our brains and using our intellect and using our intentions and our trustworthiness. If what we speak is only half truths, then we're only half of the people are going to believe us, kind of thing. But when we speak the truth all the time, then people go, wait a minute, I don't know, I don't think he's lying. There's just something that's there. They go, well, I believe this guy. Hey, I think he's telling the truth. Well, holy shit, he might be telling the truth. But all these other folks are trying to make up the story. So lots of ways that we can deal with our customs. We can decide to say, you know what? Maybe I'm having chicken instead of turkey. Maybe I'm having ham instead of turkey on Thanksgiving. Maybe I'm not going to have, maybe I'm going to have a salad for Thanksgiving. That's just an example. But to the point, though, instead of, killing, maiming, bigger guns and all this, maybe we should try it another. So maybe our customs do suck in some ways. Maybe we should take a look at ourselves as a nation, as a people, as individuals. We should always do that. But is the custom that I'm accustomed to actually a good one? I'm accustomed to letting shit pile up in my ashtray. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's a good custom. I should empty my ashtray. Duh. But I'm accustomed to it. It doesn't make it right. You know what I mean? That's just a small one. But to the point, though, we can change our customs. We can change our tone of voice. We can change how we view and see other people. We can approach people with a different point of view without being angry. And we can be forceful by stating our position without being a total whack job because, but you're not listening to me. Kennedy was shot by the CIA, forget it. You just have to say, well, maybe that's one we just aren't going to go. So, but what you can do is you can ask them for Just as an example, have you seen those weird chemtrail kind of things in the sky? They call them, you know, they call them, contrails, but they last a long time. And contrails, they don't really last that long. I'm beginning to wonder, maybe there is something to this chemtrail business or something. And even Trump said something about the aerosol injection thingy. Well, so you don't have to go beat somebody up, but you can get them to question why they feel the way they do without beating them up, and send them down a rabbit hole on their own. Because wait a minute, instead of you defending something, you pose them with a question and they don't really know. Well, maybe I should do a little bit of and that's all you have to do is say, well, I don't know, maybe you should do a little research. That's what you say to them. Versus, well, I think it's like this and I know for a fact. Yeah, they ain't gonna listen to you. So how do we change people's perceptions? By allowing them to figure it out for themselves, by posing questions to them. Why do you feel that way? Why do you hate bulldogs? Well, bulldogs, I always heard, well, a German Shepherd can hurt you just as bad as a bulldog, but we won't go there. People get bit by little chihuahuas all the time. They're, so, but, but a Doberman, oh my God, my sister has a miniature Doberman Chihuahua. Yeah. And the thing's about like this tall, wiry, one of those little dogs. And it might nip you on the ankle. But the thing is it's not going to bite you like a German Shepherd would, but still, so the size of the dog don't matter. The breed of the dog doesn't matter. We had a bulldog at one time that was just like so playful and don't attack any of us. There was one time a neighbor came down here and wanted to get in our shit about something. I don't know. But anyway, that our bulldog was like, oh no, you don't. Could pick up the vibes from my neighbor and knew right away, because there are lots of other people who have come to my house and the bulldog would go up and wag what little bit of tail she had. And, but that was okay. So, but, the dog wasn't malicious to everybody. It was only malicious to a malicious person because they could feel it, sense it, or otherwise. So animals are a good indication. Now my sister's dog, that dog just bites at anything. If that's a different thing. But she can't get homeowners insurance because she has a Doberman Pinscher Chihuahua, and that like this, she can't get insurance on her trailer for home insurance because anyway. And I was like, what? But anyway, silly stuff. But to the point though, our customs need to change. Our thought patterns need to change in some of these things. Is retaliation and retribution what we really want? Is that what we want to push forward in the universe? And so to a leader of a country, I would say, which is more important? Now, is Gorbachev, who tear down the wall, with Reagan, is Gorbachev remembered for his meanness, his warring, or is Gorbachev remembered for bringing peace and tearing down the wall between nations? What is Gorbachev remembered? Now, there are a lot of people going to go, who the hell is Gorbachev? But, back in the day, Gorbachev, Putin. But the thing is though that Russia could, if they were truly this warring nation, they'd be taking over all these countries where actually they're kind of they've been pulling out for years. If you do your homework, people think that the Russians are trying to take over. No, they're being asked to come back. Like me living in the state of Georgia saying, hey, United States, I'm still here. So, but my friends, listen, I thank you very much. Lori, it's good to see you. Gerald, Just Spitfire, how are you? Yes, good times, good thoughts. Gerald, nobody has a license to molest even at the airport. At the airport rape, even if it's your car and your doobie. Right. Uriah Heep. Animals sense, Max Vision sends, animals sense their owner's state of mind more than anything. Absolutely. Just fit for crap. I um, got to go. Animals are the ones we need to be listening to. Yep, absolutely. Okay, my friends, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for being there. Thanking you for your train of thought and just being, the camp counselor today to try to put another little crumb of thought pattern into the universe. Always ask the question, why? What's my motivation for hating or disliking or something like that? And one of the things, well, I hate that color on that person, and it might be atrocious. There was this one fat lady in Walmart. I cannot get this view out of my head years ago. She had spandex pants on. And if that wasn't obscene, I don't know what is. And in Walmart, you could see everything with those spandex clothes. I mean, things you didn't want to see. And so, I could say I hated that woman wearing that, but obviously she got away with it. But to the point though, I wasn't going to go up and slap her or kill her or whatever. I just didn't look. You know what I mean? So just Spitfire, much love. Yep. So everybody have a great evening. Much love to all of you. And just always stop and ask the question, why? Why do I feel this way? And be honest with yourself. Okay, we can have peace, at least between us. Whether we ever have peace in this universe, don't know. Whether or not we can ever have peace upon this planet, don't know. But we can have peace between us. That we can do because we make the choice to. So, my friends, if we continue to have peace between us, maybe it will spread to the upper muckety mucks and they'll get it. Okay. Gerald, Gorbachev reminds me of when I used to believe the news was true. Yeah, kind of, sort of. And even them, there were lies about Gorbachev and things. Now, there are a lot of stuff that they just left out too, Gerald. But to that point, ain't going to defend or reject any of that from past experience. Cheers back, Ian. Ciao for now. Absolutely. And until next time, my friends. Hey, Gaza, how are you? So keep your brain between the ditches, keep our intentions as clear as possible. That's the best we can do. And it's having an effect. There are changes happening with people. So, I want to applaud you all for the good work that you're doing. And we will continue to do, because the more we understand about things, the more we'll be able to make better choices and continue some of the good choices we've already made. So, my friends, I love you. I do. Thank you so much. And with that, I'll close with prayer. I continue to pray that each and every one of you, your friends, your family, and all of your relations will accept and receive the gifts, the healing, the knowledge, and the wisdom from the universe. I continue to pray that each and every one of you, your friends, your family, your relatives, and all of your relations, past, present, and future, will accept and receive the wonderful healings, the knowledge, and the wisdom of the universe. And to keep that rule of three going, I continue to pray that each and every one of you will accept and receive the gifts, the healing, and share that knowledge with your friends, your relatives, and all of your relations. So, my friends, until next time, be kind, be sweet, be compassionate always, and keep it between the ditches, my friends. There's some strange stuff going on in this world, and we need to keep our wits about us. So until next time, TTFN from me and Breaking Dawn as well, that's hanging around here somewhere. I send love and cosmic hugs to all of you. Till next time, bye.